That's where the good stuff lies, not in the tube TVs or the new ones. But so it goes on to say, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped in the world you see because its cause can be changed. This change requires first that the cause be identified and then let go so that it can be replaced. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about blank. So just out of, it's so interesting to me. And again, I choose to present this without judgment, and I hope it's heard this way. But many of the most divisive and mean-spirited things I read, mostly on Facebook, are always supported by a religion, and I find that very interesting, peculiar. I'm like, wow, this is, and I really don't mean this with judgment. I think about it. I'm like, for me, I'm not a fan of politics and certain politicians. I'll admit that. But I know that my engaging in the hatred and the judgment and the separation and the attack and the defense and the blame, that is not feeding the universe that I want. I want to see beyond my judgment. I want to give up my attack thoughts about this politician or this situation and get to the truth of the matter. And I find it curious, again, that it is something that is, separation is unfortunately still supported in many belief systems. And but I don't think that's where peace lies. It's all or nothing. We're either in or we're out. We're either in love or we're in fear. And every encounter is a holy encounter. In that person, I'll find myself or lose myself. So back to this, I can escape the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about. Think about it. Where are you maybe holding attack thoughts or grievances? Because that's where you're keeping your own veil and your own light from shining through this veil of judgment and needing to be right, and just there's no value there. There really isn't. There's no peace there for sure. So I invite you to consider, what can you give up your attack thoughts on? Where are you still holding on too tightly? And I really have learned this one over the years. I do not perceive my own best interest in the situation involving I would like to happen and to happen. How often do we do this? In this situation, I want this and this and this and this. So my happiness, I think, is based on, well, in this situation, I'd like this and this and this to happen, then I'm going to be happy. Does that one work for you? Doesn't work either. So the Course goes on to say, the end of this, I do not perceive my own best interest in this situation. We really don't have a clue. Our little thinking mind, our ego, is based in fear, judgment, separation, survival, that we always, and we're always looking outside of ourselves for the next greatest thing. That next thing is going to fix it and do it for us. And it says, seek but do not find. And I can speak from experience. I've sought and not found it because I don't perceive my own best interest. Well, that requires letting go, surrender, faith, tuning in to the voice of the Holy Spirit and being willing to say, I really don't know what my best interest is. Another tough one. This requires, and I think the Course in Miracles does require some spiritual maturity. And it says, I am not a victim of the world I see. It's real easy cop out there. I'm a victim, or they're the hurricane victims. And it's, again, those people are suffering. There is, and I am not taking this much away from that, because I do know, and when you're in the midst of that, you know, right now we're cozy, we're comfortable, we like each other. It's pretty easy for us to be, you know, open to this. But, you know, to go down there, if you're going down on a spiritual mission, I wouldn't go to the first person and say, you know, you're not a victim of this world, you see, because that's not going to bring much peace and hope. But in truth, I think that those of us who are in a position to be able to be in that mindset and that belief, that they're going to get it through osmosis. They're going to experience it because we're all connected. So the greatest gift we can bring to the world is to look where we feel like we've been victimized or victims, because the follow-up lesson in the course says, I have invented the world I see. Really? So that's not another feel-good thought, really. But to me, actually it is, because if I invented it, good news is I can change it. If I was truly a victim, that means I had nothing to do with it, and there's nothing I can do to change it. But now I invented it, I can change it. And, you know, it's not like you go out there and say, oh, well, I'm going to create the experience of bankruptcy or a really severe illness, or, you know, you know, we don't consciously choose these things, but I do believe at a soul level, we choose these to help our souls evolve, to make us more aware of what is real. I know we can all identify, or we've all seen people who've had really crappy situations, yet they're still smiling. And then you got the people who, you know, whine and moan. It's never enough, never good enough, and I'm a victim, and this world sucks, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and guess what? That tape plays over and over. I'm inventing it, and I'm recreating it, for sure. But the good news is there is another way of looking at the world, and we can see peace instead of this. The lesson here says, I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety or worry, or my thoughts about this situation with peace. So if it's about recognizing it, it's about being vigilant every moment, looking at, you know, if I'm upset, if I'm anxious, depressed, lonely, tune in, check in, ask for guidance. And sure enough, everything in the universe is here to support us. The Holy Spirit will meet us where we are, and help us to spiral up and get out of the fear into faith, or fear to love. Every moment, it's a choice. So also, you know, it's and I know I've shared this on a number of occasions, but I think it bears repeating often, is, you know, the choir I'm speaking to here, I would say that looking around, most of us probably prefer holistic over Western living. That we certainly want to, you know, choose organic food over maybe fast food. And there's nothing wrong with that. And but where the line gets crossed here, and I think it's not helping any of us, is to say that resistance to, you know, I'm only choosing this path. And in the sense that I'm only going to eat organic, and I'm not going to take any medications, and blah, 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 and all this stuff, because this is more spiritual than this. And that is a huge, huge, huge trap, I feel. You know, for crying out loud, the good news is the Holy Spirit will meet us where we are. Now, ultimately, what's really cool is, and I'm still looking for this one, because, you know, as Ken Wapnick taught me years and years and years ago about the Course of Miracles and dieting, it's not the chocolate cake that makes you fat, it's the belief, the guilt we attach to it. So obviously I still attach guilt. So that's okay, but I'm willing to overcome that. But so the good news is the Holy Spirit will meet us where we are and lead us to our truth of who we are. So you know what? If Spirit leads you to take a medication versus a vitamin, it's okay. You know, lay off of that guilt, because that's you know, that's dangerous. I've worked with people over the years that have said, you know, come to me for a counseling session. You know, guess what they say? Oh, all I want is to get off my antidepressants. I just want to get off of those. And I'm like, okay, now why? And so I'm not telling someone that's not possible, or, oh yeah, just throw them away, you know, whatever, you don't need those, Spirit will help. But rather, you know, let's take this to the Holy Spirit, because it's okay. Everything has all the meaning we give to it. There's nothing more holy about one than the other. It's all, everything that's in this universe is neutral. And until we understand that we give everything all the meaning that it has, we're not going to be able to work with it in a useful, helpful way. How do we do that? We really got to buckle down and ask the Spirit for to guide us in our every move. Holy Spirit, I'm choosing to do this. Please hold my hand through this process so that I can use everything available in the greatest degree of love. And it works every time. There, you know, God has our best interest. The Holy Spirit has our best interest in mind, and will always lead us to that. You know, in closing, it's really the ultimate is forgiveness. I think that every great spiritual teaching philosophy, if we look at enlightened beings, they're not needing to forgive because they're not people who have judged. You look at someone like Jesus, you know, yes, he took action on occasion, the money changers, for example, but that was to get the attention, and that was to meet people where they were at that time to say, you know, this is, and it was not done from a place of vengeance, but a place of healing. And like, so sometimes it takes that little, you know, firm stance to get the attention of others. But it was, I really know, the more I tune into this, I know that that was coming from a place of love. I can't imagine Buddha going around and judging and attacking someone whose beliefs were different. I'm sure there was compassion there. You know what, a more recent evolved enlightened being, I think, who walked our planet in the past 100 years was Gandhi. And, you know, he was just all about, you know, non-resistance, living in peace, simplicity. He, you know, he had overcome the need for external things to be different. You know, he wore literally a loincloth and ate bread and water and just was always very tuned in compassion. So it's up to us really to be willing to walk that line of forgiveness. We're so blessed and grateful this month. And please, I hope you can come to all of them. You know, next week we have Bob Sima, awesome guy, great spirit, his wife's awesome. Then 2 weeks after that, Sean O'Shea and his story, what he's been through since the last time he was here. I think you're going to be touched greatly. Saturday night we're going to have a coffee house followed by Sunday service, and he'll do a workshop. All of that is on a love offering basis. All of these things are. Lyndon Harris, Peggy was just telling me, gosh, I saw him on his documentary on forgiveness on PBS, public, you know. So this is an opportunity for us to have Lyndon, who just got back from South Africa, you know, sharing his forgiveness message. You know, we got some really amazing opportunities here. But, you know, Lyndon is here to, in my mind, get us really anchored in that forgiveness model and get us realizing it is all about forgiveness. And his story is one that will move you, and that we'll watch the video on Friday night But you know, these forgiveness essays that we're going to do that Joan suggested in the book, we're really, you know, let's put it out there. Let's dig deep, because that's what this world needs, is love and forgiveness. And if you want to know where our strength lies, it lies in forgiveness. And Gandhi says, the weak can never forgive, for forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. And so you want to check in where you are spiritually, or where you are, just check in, where have I not forgiven? If you're holding on to a grievance, justifiable or not, if you're able to be strong and let it go, that's what this time is offering us, a great opportunity for forgiveness. So it's all about forgiveness, and all is well in reality. So it is. Namaste.